I am so excited that my husband Danny is with me today. We've been married for 26 years as of a couple months ago. I know.
It's gone quick.
I thought you were going to say, "Whew, wow,
No,
that was a
gosh,
lot of years."
It's gone quick.
It has gone quick. But in parts of me, I can't remember not being married. It's
Sure.
been this, the two becoming one really changes dramatically, changes the way we do things dramatically. And so one thing I thought as we were going to be talking today is just sharing the fun of our first date. And in Revelations, it talks about, when you've lost that passion of that first love, go back to the things you did at first. And so I think even revisiting our stories helps.
Absolutely.
And so do you remember our first date?
Sure.
What we did?
Sure. So Carrie and I were a blind date. One of my dear friends, who's actually a little bit older than me, was at ORU and worked with Carrie in the missions program at ORU, and I was graduated. And when he met Carrie, he immediately thought of me. And so he asked if I would have any interest in meeting this beautiful young lady, and I said, absolutely. And I think we'd actually met through our paths had crossed, but we didn't really know each other. But I asked Carrie out, called her and asked her out, and she said yes. And we went on October 31, back in 1989, we went to the Olive Garden.
Yes, we did.
And you didn't touch your food.
Well, I was too nervous. It was a blind date. So although I knew who you were, we'd never had a conversation before. And so I was really nervous. And he was this tall, dark, and handsome, a little bit older guy. And so I was a little nervous.
So during that dinner, our first date, we realized that our dads were both fighter pilots. They'd both flown over 200 missions in Vietnam. We realized that we were both born into Air Force families, and our birthplace was actually out of the country in England.
Yes.
Believe it or not, 5.5 years apart. And
we both had dogs named Penny.
we both had dogs named Penny.
So, there was this like holy hush at the table. It was like, could this be the guy?
So she got down on one knee and proposed right on the spot. Just teasing, that didn't happen.
But seriously, 13 months later, we were married. And so taking that step of marriage 26 years ago, I was starry-eyed. I was in love with Danny. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. But you can't imagine what marriage is like until you take that step of faith. And so in doing that, we've had many ups. And we've had our few share of downs. And I remember one time talking with a friend, really more of an acquaintance, because friends would know this part about me, but more of an acquaintance, and just saying, wow, apologize, Danny and I had a rough morning. And she was in shock. You guys fight? I was like, we're human. We're normal. Yes, we fight. And so, we can all clean up well, get to church, get to work, go on a double date, whatever it would be with friends. But, we have an underside. We have the humanness.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's times that sparks fly, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we're both strong-willed people, and we both have strong ideas, and our children are actually both very strong-willed. But for Carrie and I, when I think of marriage, and I think of our marriage, and I think of what makes our marriage so special, it's really that we have the same values. And what are those values? Is that we both love the Lord with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And we both value what He values.
Yes.
And really, marriage is central to the Bible. The Bible starts with a marriage.
Yes.
Adam to Eve. And the Bible ends with the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the wedding of Jesus with His body. And really, the book from start to end is about intimacy, and it's about relationships. And so Carrie and I so value God, and we so value marriage, that it's made all the difference in our marriage. Though we're radically different. I like sports, you could care less. I like James Taylor, you don't necessarily.
I don't like him,
but or whatever your taste or interest are, that's not the focus of our life. And so he chooses relationship, so we've chosen relationship, and we've chosen each other. And it is a daily choice. We've had many difficulties. We've had loved ones die. We've had a daughter that's a cancer survivor. As a young girl, she got thyroid cancer, and that had many hospital visits and a lot of tears and a lot of difficulty.
And we've had, like you said, we've had some strong-willed children who are amazing. We would not want
Absolutely.
we wouldn't want to change one thing, but some of
Parenting is not easy.
Parenting's not easy, and
It's not.
so when you have those parenting things come up, it can also bring out sometimes the worst in each other. And so I think
And differences in each other.
Differences, exactly. And so I think at the end of the day, continuing to choose one another, continuing to prefer one another, and continuing to say, you know what, I know Danny's heart is for me.
Right.
And I hope he knows my heart is for him. And so I think a lot of times when we get in those moments, we have to say, hey, can we have a time out here? Can we start over?
Again.
Can we
Yeah,
start
start
again?
fresh.
And
Yeah.
and I love that is that way with the Lord. His mercies are new every morning. And so,
Right.
and great is his faithfulness. And so how much more should if God's given me that grace and that forgiveness, I want to be able to offer that to my husband. And, I think the best gift that we could give our kids, honey, is a good marriage.
Absolutely.
Because now we're empty nesters. And so I just want to say to those of you who are in that early stage of marriage, stay in the game. Because, walking our kids through this season of life, I'm so glad that we've been able to do that together. Our son has an amazing father, and I not a perfect father, but I'm so grateful that we have this unity to be able to bring to the table in this season of our parenting with young adult children, and we don't want them to have to visit two different homes, and so for those of you out there that have walked through divorce, and that this is no shame on that, but those of you who are out there that are contemplating divorce, don't do it. Stay in the game. God asks us or commands us in Hebrews to honor marriage. And so I think in this day and age, marriage isn't honored.
Sure.
And so I think one thing as believers, we need to honor marriage because, as you said, it was God's idea from the beginning, because he knew that would be a way that we could be family, but also a way that we could be that iron sharpening iron, and that we don't always get our own way, and that we have to choose to deny ourselves to follow the Lord, but we also have to choose to deny ourselves to have a good marriage.
And we've, like Carrie said earlier, we made many, many mistakes. And our house has had many days of elevated voices and even screaming at one another and at the kids and at the frustrating circumstances or crying out to God. But I've encouraged Carrie many times to say, I know we've done a lot of things wrong, but we've been really good parents. Not because of how good we have been necessarily, or that we didn't mess it up many times, but our kids know that we love each other, our kids know that we love God, and our kids know that we love them. And
I think, and our kids know that we've chosen to stay in the game with our walk with the Lord, and to stay in the game in marriage.
with each other.
And so we just
and
want
with them, that we don't walk away from
absolutely,
them.
absolutely.
Because there have been times that we probably thought, not the best kid at the moment, but they know that they have our unconditional love and commitment.
And one verse that I thought about today was talks about, let love and faithfulness be around you, bind them around your neck, don't forsake them. And so I think as we leave, the thought that I want to leave today, honey, is that let's keep love and faithfulness bound around our necks. Love and faithfulness with our walk with the Lord, love and faithfulness in our marriage, and love and faithfulness in parenting our kids and in our families and those that he puts across our path. But I'm glad you chose me 26 years ago.
I'll choose you again.
Let's do at least
Choose you every
26
day.
more.
Let's do it.